James entered the elevator like a death row prisoner walking the Green Mile, stomach in knots, hands trembling, breathing shallow. In just a few moments he will stand before Victor Hale, CEO of Hale Enterprises, a financial empire that was spreading continuously ever since he took charge, 5 years ago. "We need this contract in order to avoid bankruptcy. It's the only way," James's father told him 2 hours ago. Victor Hale has a reputation for liking pretty omegas, among other things. You will go to his place, and you will do everything in your power to make him happy. It's the least you can do for your family. James tried to refuse, but he suddenly felt heat spreading through his body, and he understood he couldn't escape this. His father had calculated this meeting to match his heat cycle, when he couldn't fight the natural call of alpha pheromones. Then, James's father had 2 bodyguards bring him to Victor's headquarters. It was an imposing skyscraper, a monster made of steel and glass, and there, 30 floors above ground level, was Victor's penthouse. James looked at his reflection in the polished steel doors of the elevator. Honey-coloured soft curls framed a face with elegant features, eyes the colour of the deep sea, now wide with panic, long eyelashes casting shadows on his flushed cheekbones. A slender figure, long legs, delicate fingers that had once played the guitar. He could feel heat rushing through his body, unstoppable, making his black orchid scent spike. James took a deep breath, trying to steady himself. Going back was pointless. His father's bodyguards were ordered to make sure he didn't. When the elevator doors opened, he stepped out. The scent hit him instantly. It was the scent of a powerful alpha. Dark coffee, wet earth, and something else, like static before lightning strikes. It made his knees weak, and James needed a moment to adjust. He followed the scent to the living room, the sound of his steps muffled by the thick carpet. Victor was in front of the floor-to-ceiling window, a glass of whiskey in his hand. He sensed James approaching and turned around. He was tall, well-built, dark hair styled to perfection, a face carved from stone, and the arrogance of an alpha who knows his worth and power. But the most striking thing about him was his eyes, sharp, piercing, the colour of stormy sky, the kind of eyes that saw everything and forgave nothing. He looked James up and down, then approached him slowly, deliberately, like a predator, assessing if the prey was worth its time. He stopped inches from James, then bent slightly and inhaled James's scent. When he straightened up, there was a sparkle in his eyes. Victor's proximity and his overwhelming scent made James's head spin. His pupils dilated, his heart was racing, and the heat in his body became unbearable. "What's your name?" he heard Victor ask. "James." "Well, James, you're better than I expected." Victor put his glass on the low table and took James's hand, guiding him toward the bedroom. The bedroom had 2 glass walls, offering an amazing view over the city. The moonlight coming in bathed the massive bed with black silk sheets in a dim silver light. James's breathing stopped for a second when he saw the bed. Victor sensed it and pulled him close, lifting his chin to meet his eyes. "Don't worry, I won't hurt you," he murmured, then bent down and gently bit James's earlobe, sending a jolt of energy down James's spine. Victor's hand slid under his clothes, touching the hot skin of James's back. A soft moan escaped James's lips before he could stop it, and he leaned into Victor's body, trembling slightly. "You're sensitive," Victor said, a satisfied smile tugging at the corner of his mouth, eyes blazing. "Good." Time slowed down in a blur of sensations James had never felt before. Clothes were discarded, bodies entangled, pale skin against dark sheets. When Victor pushed himself in, sharp pain shot through James's body. He arched his back and bit his lips fiercely while tears fell uncontrollably. Victor paused, astonished. "Is this your first time?" he asked. James didn't answer. He was gasping for air, clutching the bedsheets, trying to adjust, his body aching in ways he never knew possible. Victor kissed the tear-stained corner of his eye. "It's okay. I'll be gentle. The pain will pass." He moved slowly, carefully, giving James time. He buried his head in James's neck, where his scent gland was, teeth grazing the skin. "No," James said in a raspy voice, his hand automatically covering his neck. Victor snorted. "Don't worry, I don't mark escorts." He then increased the rhythm until he reached the peak, but James couldn't feel anything anymore. The word escort poured ice into his veins, leaving him physically and emotionally numb. After Victor fell asleep, James got up slowly, gathered his clothes, and left the penthouse quietly. He wandered the streets aimlessly until he reached the riverbank, then sat on a bench, watching the sunrise over the shimmering water with a blank expression on his face. He felt dirty to the core. Victor woke up to an empty bed. He was in a good mood. He took a shower, got dressed in a sharp suit that fit him like a second skin, and went to his business meeting with the Harlands. In the car, Victor kept thinking about James. He was a little puzzled by James's person and behavior. He was a clean, untouched Omega delivered to his door. He didn't show him fake affection. He didn't cling to him. He didn't ask for money or gifts, and he left without a word. This was the exact opposite of what he had experienced with all the other Omegas he had met in the past, who only saw him as a walking wallet and a stepping stone toward a life of luxury. Victor entered the conference room with the confidence of someone who had already won. His legal team was there, as well as Richard Harland and his board of directors. They spent the next 4 hours going through the contract, Victor discussing each detail with the surgical precision of a ruthless businessman that held an empire in his hands. After the papers were signed, everyone in the room was exhausted, except for Victor, who looked as cold and indifferent as ever. He glanced at Richard Harland. "I would like a word with you, Mr. Harland," he said. The legal team and board of directors got out quickly. "Your gift from yesterday was thoughtful." Victor continued when they were alone. A sly, unpleasant grin appeared on Richard Harland's face. "I'm glad you and my son got along well." "Your son?" Something sharp flickered in Victor's eyes. "Yes. As you well know, Mr. Hale, this contract is important to us, so we had to show you our sincerity." Something cold settled in Victor's chest. He looked at Richard Harland with disgust. The person in front of him was so despicable that he would send his own son to someone's bed for profit. Victor's hand clenched into a tight fist. Richard Harland didn't sense the shift in Victor's attitude and continued. "You don't have to worry about James. He is quiet and he knows his place. He will not bother you. If you liked him, I can have him come to you again, as often as you wish. I will make sure he will be prepared to meet your standards." Prepared? Victor remembered smelling the strong scent of black orchid rolling off James's body in waves. "You sent him to me during his heat?" "Yes. Anything can be arranged, Mr. Hale. If you have any other preferences, just tell me. No need." Victor's voice was colder than ice. "You can leave." After the door closed behind Richard Harland, Victor buzzed in his assistant. "Bring me all the information you can find on James Harland. You have 2 hours." "Yes, sir." Victor put his head in his hands, memories of the previous night flashing through his mind. James's flushed cheeks, him crying in pain, the way his body trembled under him, how he mocked his attempt of protecting himself from being marked. Escort. The word cut through Victor's heart like a knife. He had treated James like a male escort, no questions asked. Victor's fist slammed on the mahogany table, cracking it down the middle. 2 hours later, Victor was staring at a thin file in front of him. James Harland, 23 years old, Omega, second son of Richard and Helen Harland, graduated from MIT with a degree in computer science. No boyfriends, no scandals, no allergies, prefers classical music and thriller novels. There was also a phone number. Victor called. Disconnected. He let out a low growl that vibrated through the room, veins bulging on his forehead. His assistant was watching him, concerned. The untouchable, cold and powerful Victor Hale was cracking in front of him. "Find James Harland, now!" Victor howled. James's phone vibrated in his pocket. Caller ID, father. He picked up. What have you done? Richard Harland's voice was furious. Victor is displeased. He doesn't want to see you again. Of course he doesn't, James thought. He already had his fun. You will go back to him, his father continued, and you will apologize for whatever you did wrong. Do you understand? No. What did you say? I said no. I'm not going back. Fix this, or you are dead to us, his father roared. Fine. Consider me dead. Goodbye, father. James ended the call and threw his phone in the river. Then he walked to the train station and never looked back. 5 years later, James was in the small kitchen of his apartment, flipping pancakes. When the last one was cooked, he placed them on the table, maple syrup on the side. Noah, breakfast is ready. A small boy, with big brown eyes and messy hair, came in, carrying his stuffed rabbit. His eyes lit up when he saw the pancakes. Papa, you made my favorites. You're the best papa in the world. He then started eating happily. James looked at his son with a smile in his eyes. Noah was the light of his life. He found out he was pregnant a month after coming to this city. He was juggling 2 jobs while trying to develop his online business. One of his professors recommended him to his first client who, in his turn, recommended James to others. Through hard work and determination, James developed a network of clients who brought him a steady income, allowing him to work full-time remotely. And it was a good thing he could do that. His pregnancy had been difficult. He had almost lost the baby twice, and he had spent the last month before giving birth on mandatory bed rest. The actual birth was also traumatic. He was alone, scared, weak from surgery, and responsible for a new life. But he pushed through, and things got progressively better. Noah is thriving. His business is well established and growing. He can now choose his clients and be present in his son's life. Come on, buddy. It's time to go to kindergarten. I don't want to go today. Can I stay home with you? I'll make you hot chocolate while you work. Not today, buddy, but we can go to the park later and get some ice cream. Can Mr. Ears come too? Noah was holding his stuffed bunny. Yes, but he can't have ice cream. It's not good for rabbits. He'll get a tummy ache. Noah nodded seriously. No ice cream for Mr. Ears, he declared. Then he went to his room to get ready. After dropping Noah at his kindergarten, James opened his laptop. He was scrolling through his messages when one email made his heart stop. From Hale Enterprises. Dear Sir, we are currently looking for cybersecurity experts to update our protocols and security systems. Your company, J&N Serve, came highly recommended by our partners, and we would like to hire your services. The collaboration details can be discussed with our CEO, Mr. Victor Hale, who is currently in your area. Looking forward to your reply. Best regards, Sarah Lane, head of the IT department, Hale Enterprises. James's hands shook. Victor is here. The same Victor who broke him with one word now wanted to collaborate with him. Memories of that night flooded his brain, and James felt stupid and dirty once again. It was a feeling he couldn't shake off no matter how hard he tried, like a permanent stain on his soul. He steadied himself and typed a polite reply, declining the offer. He will have to be very careful in the next few days, not to accidentally bump into Victor. And he must protect Noah. God knows what this powerful alpha can do to them if he finds out he has a love child. James didn't dare think about it. He picked Noah from kindergarten in the afternoon and took him to the park as promised, but his mind was elsewhere. Noah noticed his pale face, as well as the change in his pheromones. Fear, danger, threat. Papa, are you sick again? He asked, his big eyes fixated on James. No, buddy, just tired. James felt a sharp pain in his heart. After giving birth, his heat cycles were rare, but sudden and very painful. No medication could help. He would lay in bed half-conscious, unable to move, high fever, every inch of his body in pain, as if stabbed by 1,000 daggers. On one such occasion, he was unable to find someone who could take care of Noah for a few days, so his son had to watch him suffer, and it deeply affected him. This was the sickness Noah was referring to. Back at their apartment, James cooked dinner, then gave Noah a bath. They spent a long time playing with soap bubbles and splashing one another. Then James helped him put on his pajamas. Suddenly, there was a knock on the door. "Brush your teeth, buddy. I'll go see who it is." James opened the door and froze. Victor was standing before him, hands in his pockets, filling the space with his presence. His stormy grey eyes were fixed on James, taking in the scene. James's wet shirt that was sticking to his chest, sleeves rolled up, first button undone, messy hair, bare feet, thin frame, pale face, dark blue eyes that widened in fear. "Hello, Jameses." Victor's low voice vibrated through James's chest. "What are you doing here? You refused to meet me, so I came to you. What do you want?" James was now shaking, fear and anger washing over him, his pheromones spiking in distress. But before Victor could answer, tiny footsteps approached, and Noah appeared beside his father. "Who is it, Papa?" Victor's eyes shot to Noah, then back at James. "Are you Papa's friend? Do you want to play with me and Mr. Ears?" "It's time for bed, buddy. He was just leaving." "I would love to meet Mr. Ears," Victor said, and entered the apartment uninvited. Noah ran to his room to look for his stuffed rabbit. "What are you doing? Leave, now!" James hissed, choking with panic. "You have a son." It wasn't a question. "Is he mine?" Victor's stormy eyes were piercing James. "Not yours," James replied sharply. "Now get out of my house," Noah returned, dragging Mr. Ears by the tail. "I brought Mr. Ears. Can we play now?" Victor crouched down to his level and stroked his soft hair. "Your papa is right. It's late, and you need to rest if you want to grow big and strong. I'll come by another time. Promise?" "Promise." Then Victor turned to James. "We need to talk. I'll contact you." With that, he left. For the next few days, James existed on autopilot. He was a nervous wreck. Every notification made him flinch. Every knock on the door made his heart stop. He couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, couldn't work. Noah refused to go to kindergarten, clinging to him, sensing his distress. His phone rang, unknown number. James let it go to voice message. "It's Victor. James, I must speak to you. I booked a reservation this evening, 8 p.m. at Freddy's. I'll wait for you. Please come." James sighed. It was unavoidable. He couldn't hide anymore. He arranged with his regular babysitter to take Noah to her place for the night, then dropped him off and went to meet Victor. Freddy's was the best restaurant in town. Candle lights, exquisite dishes, fine wine, the best dining experience money can buy. He arrived early, but found Victor already waiting for him. When he saw him approaching, Victor stood up and gestured to the chair in front of him. They were in a private booth. On the table, in front of Victor, there was a file. After James sat down, Victor pushed the file toward him. "Noah is my son," he stated. "I have the paternity test to prove it. You did a paternity test on my son without my consent. How?" James stood up abruptly, his face twisted in anger. "I took a hair from him when we met," Victor admitted. "Please sit, James. I just want to talk. I'm not your enemy." Victor reached out for James's hand, but James pulled back. "You are my enemy. What do you want? What have we ever done to you?" "I want you and our son to come home with me." Victor looked at James, his gaze vulnerable and sincere, but in his panic, James couldn't see it. "You will not take my son from me, Victor. We will not come with you. You do not own us. Stay away from us." James fled the restaurant. On the way home, he felt a sharp pain in his abdomen, making him gasp for air. "No! Oh God, please no!" Under the heavy emotional stimulation of the past days, James's heat came, sudden and more painful than ever. He took his phone from his pocket with trembling fingers and dialed the babysitter's number. "Mrs. Morton, can you please keep Noah for another day? I'm not feeling well." After the babysitter agreed, James relaxed slightly. At least Noah will not see him suffer again. When he reached his apartment, James could barely stand. He was drenched in sweat, vision blurry, even breathing was torture. He curled into a ball on the floor and lost consciousness. After an unknown amount of time, James heard pounding on his door. He whimpered weakly, unable to move, pain and pheromones rolling over him in waves, filling his small apartment with the scent of black orchid. His door shattered to pieces, and the next second, Victor was holding him carefully, like he was made of glass. "I'm sorry, I'm late," he said in a husky voice, cradling James in his arms. "I'll help you. It will soon stop hurting." Victor kissed the skin on James's neck, just where his scent gland was. "No!" James scrambled to get away, clutching his neck, the same way he did during their night together. "Are you marking escorts now?" he mocked through gritted teeth. Victor's heart shrunk painfully, but before he could say anything, James's phone rang. It was Mrs. Morton. James forced himself to answer. "Mr. Harland, I can't find Noah. I think he heard you were sick and he went home by himself. I'm already searching through my neighborhood." "Okay, Mrs. Morton. I'll go look for him right now." James forced himself to get up and stumbled to the door on shaky legs. "What's wrong?" Victor asked, grabbing James's arm to support him. "Noah heard I'm not feeling well. He's trying to come home by himself. The babysitter is already looking for him, but I don't know how far he got. It's dark outside, Victor. What if something happens to him?" James's voice choked. "All right, we'll go search for him," Victor said, his voice laced with panic. "Do you have any idea where he could be?" "We usually take a shortcut by the lake in the park. It's the fastest way home from the babysitter's place." "Okay, then that's where we start." They went together to the park, Victor supporting James's feverish body with one hand, paying attention to every shadow on the road. When they reached the lake, they could see a small figure running along the wooden bridge that crossed the lake. "Noah, baby, is that you?" James cried out. "Papa," Noah answered. Then the unthinkable happened. Noah tripped and fell in the water. "Noah!" James roared, trying to drag his weak body to save his son. But Victor acted fast. 1 second he was beside James, the other he was jumping into the dark waters of the lake. He reached Noah and got him out fast, but his small body was cold. James started CPR on his son, while Victor called the emergency number. Morning found all three of them in the same hospital room. Noah was hooked to a monitor, asleep and breathing steadily. James was by his side, holding his hand, an IV drip with pain medication in his arm, and Victor watching them both. The doctor came in for the morning visit. Noah was fine, he said. Victor's fast actions saved his life. He was just being kept another 24 hours for observation. James was referred to an omega specialist for his heat cycle disorder. Victor booked the best medical care for both of them as soon as he heard what the doctor said. After the doctor left, James turned to Victor, dried tears on his face. "Thank you," he said. "I don't think Noah would have survived if you weren't there to save him. There's nothing to thank me for." Victor's voice was deep, his gaze honest as he looked at James. "He is my son. You are my omega. There is nothing I wouldn't do for you." James turned his head away. "I'm not your omega. I'm just an omega you once slept with." "No." Victor took James's hand in his. "Since that night, I couldn't stop thinking about you. What your father did to you is despicable. I only found out afterwards, but it doesn't excuse my behavior. I was despicable too, treating you like that. I looked for you for a long time, but you vanished without a trace. You can imagine my surprise when I learned that you were behind J&N IT Serve. I couldn't wait to see you again, and when I found out that you had my son, I thought my heart would burst." He cupped James's face in his big hands, his scent filling the hospital room. Dark coffee, wet earth and static. "James, I want us to be a family, a real family. You, me and Noah and all the other children we will have if you want to. Will you accept me? Will you be my partner?" James's eyes were filled with tears. The man who broke him also proved to be his and his son's savior. "I will," he whispered. "Does that make you my daddy?" Noah was looking at them with a mischievous expression on his face. "Yes, buddy, I'm your father." Victor was now crying too. "Good," Noah sighed. "Papa needs someone to help him and take care of him. He can't do everything by himself." 3 months later, James and Victor's wedding was the highlight of the social page. It was a breathtaking event. The ceremony was held in the town's cathedral. James wore a white suit, Victor was in black, and Noah took his ring-bearer role very seriously. The three of them held hands in front of the altar as James and Victor said their vows. "I, Victor, take you, James, and you, Noah, to be my forever family, to have, to cherish, and protect. I promise to stand by you through every challenge, every joyful moment, every sorrow. I promise to hold your hand and support you both with all that I have and all that I am, in sickness and in health, for as long as I shall live. I, James, take you, Victor, to be my partner and my equal. I promise to be there for you no matter what life throws in our way, to support you, to give you my heart and all that I am, to hold your hand and never let go, for as long as I shall live. I, Noah, take you both to be my parents for as long as I shall live. I don't care about the rest." The crowd exploded in cheers. When they kissed, a promise of love and mutual understanding, respect and support was sealed forever. The end.